This is NDTV, and you're watching Classics.
Hello and welcome. In just a few days, Parliament will finally vote on Gujarat. But in the state, every day still unfolds an untold horror. One of the most invisible stories so far, perhaps, has been the impact the violence has had on women and children, till several fact-finding missions released some extremely disturbing testimonies. We have travelled back to Gujarat with a member of one such fact-finding mission to chronicle how women and children in the state are fighting back. Our journey begins the same way as all our previous visits, on the highway between Vadodara and Godhra. 2 months later, the staff is back at the toll booths. The roads have been freshly tarred, and shops that we had seen reduced to ashes have sprung up again and are back at business. But in our car, the mood is grim. Our colleague for the day, activist Farah Naqvi, is telling us about the tragedies she chronicled just a few weeks ago. 30 minutes later, we enter Halol, once the state's main industrial belt. Today, the entire township has become a relief camp. The community has thrown open its homes to kith and kin and sometimes even perfect strangers who have all come here looking for refuge. Up a dark, winding staircase is our first stop. A group of women are huddled together, clutching their babies as if they may be the next to go. Zubeda and her daughter-in-law got separated from the rest of their family while fleeing the mob. 2 months on, her husband is missing. He was a tailor who lived in Dubai and was on vacation when the violence began. आपको क्या लगता है वो जिंदा है अभी?
मेरे को भी लगता है जिंदा है और सब लोग कहते हैं वो मर गए. मैं तो एक इंतजार कर रही हूँ कि इनको अल्लाह पाक भेज दे. ये सहारा है, फिर वो चले जाएगा, हम क्या करेंगे? कैसे ऐसे जिएंगे हम? वो 2 बच्चे.
अभी किसके सहारे जी रहे?
मैं एक लड़का ऐसे जा रही.
And this is only one part of her story. 7 others from Zubeda's family are also missing. The only bodies that were recovered were those of her parents. Her father, a school teacher, was one of the last to leave the village, since he believed he would never be harmed.
अब्बा तो बहुत तुम्हारे पास अभी बैठे होते तो तुम्हारे को खुश कर देते. हाँ, तुम्हारे पास ही बैठ रहे थे, कॉमेडी थे वो. और तुम आते ने तो जय भगवान ऐसा बोलते हो, तुम्हारे को सलाम अलैकुम नहीं करते.
For now, Zubeda's family eats at the community kitchen. But what next? Since she has no proof of her husband's death, she isn't even entitled to basic compensation. In fact, in the Godhra Panchmahal district, only 88 people have been certified as dead. Over 60 have received their compensation packages. But consider this, 240 others are branded missing. Aid workers argue that Gujarat's violence left bodies charred and impossible to identify. The rules make no sense, they say. The missing must be taken as dead.
While the IPC provides that about if a person is missing for 7 years, that is when you can probably perhaps come to the conclusion that he's no more. We are planning to refer this matter to the government because it is a policy issue. I mean, under these circumstances, if we need to take a different course of action. First of all, we're collecting the data, and based on it, we'd make a submission to the state government. And as soon as we get some guidelines from there, we'll implement it.
For now, at least, these women and children are assured of 2 meals a day and a roof over their head. But in the days and months to come, this will be the real crisis. The creation of scores of female-headed households, women who have lost their fathers, their brothers, their sons, and their husbands, and in effect, the earning members of their households. As lunch is served, women and children gather under a blazing sun. We've rarely met such quiet children. Children who seem numbed by the brutality they have had to witness. The only time 12-year-old Ayub Pathan breaks into a soft smile is when he writes his name for us in Gujarati. His mother says for the past 2 months, he's barely spoken. On the 28th of February, when a mob chased down his family, Ayub and his 4 cousins, even younger than him, took shelter behind tall bushes. From there, Ayub says he watched his sister and 10 cousins being stripped and thrown into a canal. Ayub was the one who broke the news to his mother, Hasina.
क्या सुना आपने अयूब से?
ये सच कहते हैं कि बस
क्या?
सबको मार मार के कपड़े उतार उतार के इज्जत लूट लूट के काट डाले, मार डाले, सिलगा दिए ऐसा।
आपकी बेटी भी थी उसमें?
हाँ थी ना।
कितने साल की थी?
20 साल की।
क्या नाम था उसका?
अफसाना।
Justice for this family rests entirely on the child's testimony. The police has already recorded Ayub's statements several times, but 2 months on, no FIR has been registered for either rape or murder. One of the most frightening things that has emerged from the accounts here is the fact that in many incidents of violence and sexual abuse, children were the only eyewitnesses, in some cases no older than 8 or 9 years. It seems cruel to imagine these children now recounting those horrors, but activists here are saying that the option may be just as bad. Silence could mean children living through a private, internal hell.
Do we stand on ethics and say we can't record these children's testimony? They are the only living witnesses if an entire family has died. They are living witnesses and we need to record their testimonies. We need to, however, record them with trauma counselors, and we need to make sure that these children are not a permanently damaged generation.
Counselors are needed in these camps almost as urgently as food and water, especially since a child may not even understand what he has had to see.
A 9-year-old girl telling me the meaning of rape to her, she doesn't know what happens in the interim between the stripping and the burning, but these are the 2 things that will permanently scar her mind. And this is what these children are having to live with. We need trauma counselors to deal with these kind of cases.
We accompany Ayub and Hasina's family members to the police station 25 kilometers away. This will be their 10th attempt to record an FIR. At first, we keep our camera crew outside the station, so the police is unaware of our presence. And minutes later, it's clear that this too has been a fruitless visit. 12-year-old Ayub has now been asked to come to the police station himself to testify in person. But his family is not ready to put an already traumatized child through this.
उनका क्या भरोसा, हमारे बच्चों को क्या करे क्या नहीं, हम किसी के भरोसे हमारे बच्चे दे सकते नहीं, बराबर है।